Hello, and welcome to Finsweet Live. Today we are doing a tutorial walkthrough of Attributes Query Param. This is an attribute solution that we just launched today, and it allows you to very easily work with query parameters from the URL and then use them on your Webflow page. So I'm joined here with Harshit, who will be leading this walkthrough to show you how you can set this up and how this can really take a lot of your marketing functionality to the next level. Clients will want this, and this is why we've built it, because clients ask for it. So Harshit, let's get into it. Let's see what query param is all about.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. So we can start with this. I will start with a small introduction of query parameter. Like if you are new to it, I'm just going to give a small, very simple definition of query param. So query parameter is nothing but some information that is stored on your URL, on your website URL, and these information exist in a proper format. To learn more about the format, you can go to the web page on attribute, and you will find the right format. If you scroll down below, it says new to query parameters. Just read this out. This is having some like reserved characters like question marks, ampersand, and there is a whole format here. And to show an example right here, I have a screenshot here on my screen. So this is the normal URL of the website. You can see finsweet.com. Every time query parameter starts, it starts with a question mark. Here you can see a question mark, and then after that I have is cool. So is cool right here, this is called parameter name itself. So is cool is parameter name, and then is equal to, after that I have true. True is the value of that name, that query parameter name. So this is the structure. Now we have an ampersand in between here that separates two names and value pair. So here I have, and then I have a name called platform. The value is Webflow. Now this is what query parameter really is, as simple as that. Now what our solution really does is it takes these values from the URL of your website, and you can place this value on HTML elements like your heading, your text, your paragraph, even on the form elements. So the thing is, the possibility to use this tool, this feature is like endless. You can think about many things, like there you can make multi-step forms, you can create a welcome message, you can create a thank you message. It's just endless. It depends on you how you are going to use it. Today in this example, we are going to show you how the functionality works. What we are going to present you is not really the only or the exact use case, you can say, for this particular feature, but at the end of example you will know how this works and what it does. So before we start, do you have anything to say, Joe? Sorry.
Nope, that's, please continue. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so here I have one more thing. If you scroll down to this page, there is an example that you can see. It's a working example. Right now here is an input field, and here is a test link or a demo link. If I click on this link, you can see here the platform value is set to Twitter. So what this example will do, it will take the value of Twitter and put it inside this input field. This can be used to track where the source is coming from, where the link is coming from. So let's just click on this link. There we go. I'm going to scroll down again, and the input should be filled with Twitter. There we go. Now you don't want to show it, you can use a hidden field as well. You can use a hidden input. It completely depends on you. Just to show an example, we have a visible field. Now let's jump to another use case to understand it even better. So first we will start with the very first step, that is copying the script from our page, going to the website and pasting it on the head of our page settings. Now make sure to paste it on the page where you want to show the values. It should not be like if you're having two pages involved in the process, make sure to put the code on the page you want the values to be visible. So in my case, what I'm going to do, I have a contact form here. I'm just going to uh, move as soon as I click on send message, I'm going to move to the next page, which is a thank you page. And here I want to present the first name of my form value on this particular text span, and also in this input field. So my code that I copied from here will go to head of the thank you page, because I want to make those values visible right here. So let's just go down here and we'll put the script on the head tag. I will click save. Nice. Now let's go to form. This is something, what I'm going to do right now is not related to query parameter. This is just a normal behavior of HTML forms. When I set the method to get and set the action URL to the URL of my thank you page, it will transfer the parameters to the URL of the thank you page. This is by default the HTML behavior. I'm going to show this example just for the sake of live stream. This is not the only use case of the query parameters. Now I set the method to get, action is set to slash thank you, which is URL of my thank you page. Now I will go to the thank you page and I will define the elements where I want those values to be visible. So first, let's scroll down here. It says get query parameter value. Now, the first actually, let's make a submission and see how the query parameter looks like when I submit a form. That will make actually more sense. So here I have a contact form. Let's just publish the website first. There we go. And I will just type in here, I refresh the page and type in my name. Harshit.
And it looks like we have lost the screen share somehow. Harshit, did you change the browser window?
I'm not sure. I started the share again. I'm not sure what really happened.
Okay, we're
Okay,
back.
there we go.
We're back.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just typing out some information here. And this is test. This is test. There we go. Send message. Now, as soon as I hit send message, you can see that it has transferred the values from my form field, like first name, that is Harshit, last name, that is Agrawal. Let's try to zoom it a little bit if possible. No, we cannot really zoom it here. So all the values are being transferred to the query parameter. This is default behavior of HTML form. Now what I'm going to do is take these values and put it here on these input and text field. For that, we will have to go to our query parameters page, and I will just copy this first attribute and define the name. So this is the name of the attribute, which is first name. First name is coming from the input name itself. So if I go to the contact page, just to make it more clear, if I click on form input, you can see the name is set to first name. You can use a space here that will be converted to a dash, but I'm just using very simple, like all small letters here for this example. First name, there we go. And let's go to the thank you page and define where I want this first name to be visible. I will click on this name. I have created a text span right here. Click on this add button, paste the name of the attribute, and now I want to put here the name of the query parameter name itself. So name of the query param, which is first name. So first name. Here we go. I will hit save. I also want to put that value here on this input field. So let's just go here, paste the same attribute name, and the value is going to be first name. Now, when I do this, it's going to replace that in that particular text and input, and it would take the value from the query parameter itself. Let's refresh the page right here.
So what these attributes are doing is saying, hey, this text element or this input field, go look in the query parameter, look for the first name, and then put that first name value in this location. That's what's happening here. So when Harshit reloads the page, name and that input field will now say Harshit. There we go.
Here we go.
So this attribute is a way to communicate with the query parameters in the URL. Now, this is something very common in the web world. You may have never used this before, but this is what marketing teams use to communicate between platforms. Have you ever been on pretty much any social website or e-commerce website? It creates those giant links, right? Amazon, if you've ever been on amazon.com, it creates these massively long links with a whole bunch of information about your path to getting to that location so that they can track everything that's going on here. And we built this solution because when we work with marketing teams, they usually want something with query parameters. So now this is just a little bit less code that we have to write to access those query parameters and then use the values in the project. So nice walkthrough. This is a great use case. Please, Harshit, continue.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So I'm just going to submit this form again, and let's see what will happen. And this query parameter is itself really powerful because in a lot of cases you don't want to you may not need to or want to use cookies or local storage to store some information and data. You might consider using query parameters because that's not storing anything on the user browser. So that's also a nice solution. Let's just change the name to Joe. Here I will type your name, Joe. There we go. And send message. And here we go. On the next page, I can see this name. I just transferred this information to the query parameter, and then from there, I transferred it to the input. But the functionality, the basic functionality that our tool is providing you is taking the value or information from your URL and putting it on your HTML website or HTML elements, basically.
And this is a great walkthrough when using forms. We can absolutely integrate this into outbound forms, just like Harshit is showing. Now, there's also a use case where we may want to track something incoming to our website. So let's say we are sharing a campaign on Twitter, or we are doing a Google AdWords campaign. We can add these query parameters at the end of the URL, or the client can do this so that when someone clicks on that link, we know exactly where that person came from. And we can actually submit that information through the form. Hey, this person came from Twitter. This person came from the summer sale. This person came from the AdWords campaign 3257. And we can put all of that information through the form. So, Harshit, let's look at this next example of taking something from the URL incoming and then using it somewhere on the page.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Uh, so, for example, I can show an example right here, which is an example of a website which contains some of the parameters that is like source of the link itself. So let me try to zoom a little bit here if I can. Okay, so this says UTM underscore source, which is name of the query param, and the value is Twitter, which means this, we can place uh, these query params on the URL when we share it on Twitter, and this will simply just come to our input, and this input can be a hidden input in our website, just like the example that we shown here right here. We have this where the source is set to Twitter. When we open the link, it will take the value and put it inside a feed. This is going to be a hidden field for an example. So as soon as users submit something like their email, we will know that they have came through Twitter. We can also show them a very custom and warm welcome message, like, because we can take their name as well in some way, like in other platforms, not only on Twitter. We can show them a custom message like, hey, welcome to the website, Joe, or something like that. So yeah, there are endless possibilities. I don't really have a live example ready to show the social media links, but yeah, it's going to look exactly the same. For example, let's do a fun thing right here. So here, uh, let's just create a very custom message of our own. Welcome. I'm creating a welcome message right here. There we go. Publish the website, and the name is still the first name. I'm going to replace the value in query param and see what happens. Here we go. It's published.
And now
Okay, it
imagine
says
this in
welcome,
an
Joe.
email. Nice. Imagine this in an email, right? You're doing an email campaign, you have a list of people in your newsletter, and you can create this custom link with the UTM params so that when people click into your newsletter link and they load the web page, it actually greets that person by name temporarily.
There we
And
go.
it doesn't save as a cookie or local storage. It's just there for that specific instance. So Harshit, this is
Yeah.
great that we're showing how to communicate between the element and the URL. Let's bring up a comment from John Saxton. This is a great comment, and this is actually what we need to talk about next. Any ability to make elements conditional, such as show and hide, based on a param, or are we just pulling in the param as a string right now? So right now, we are just pulling in as a string. That is the V1 of this attribute solution. We have more attributes planned that will help you do this without code. Right now, you'd have to do it without code. So you can use the attributes query param solution, cut down on some code, and then write a little code on top to then show and hide based on a value. However, when we go and release these attribute solution, our plan is for you to be able to use 2 or 3 attribute solutions to create a whole system of exactly what you want in terms of marketing tracking. And I'll give a great example. In social share, we can set up a system that adds the UTM parameters to our social share links. So we're going to share this on Twitter, and it's going to include that little UTM parameter. So when users go and share that, they're sharing it with the UTM param. And then when someone clicks on that, you know that that person came via a social share from the website. So these can actually work together. So this is one connection you can make, but the next step, it will either require a little bit of JavaScript or waiting until we release those additional attribute solutions.
Nice.
And
Yeah. So I definitely recommend all of you reading the, you know, more about the query params, like reserved characters, like for spaces, for different symbols. There are a specific character that is reserved on the URL. So you should definitely read about this. It's going to, it's very interesting to read. You can make your own small solutions with it. And there is also a nice option add-on that you can use, which is basically, for example, I see the URL here. We are not really happy with how URL looks right now, right? It looks messy when we see a lot of words in the URL. So this option is to give relief on that. We can basically, it will take the value and it will hide all the extra query param. So let's just test it out here live as well. So we have this thing, and where do we want to place it? It's in the name itself. So let's just go here, and the value I want to set is true. There we go. And this should be set right here. So there we go. If I refresh the page, the first name should be gone. There we go. Now you can only see the last name because I
nice.
put the first name here. The first name is gone now. So you can clean your URL up with this option basically, and it will still take the value. It's not like it's not taking the value. It's just hiding the URL, the query param from the URL.
Very
There we go.
nice. Yeah, the longer the URL, sometimes it just doesn't look good. So we keep that in mind, and that's a great option for you. Now, I want to bring up something that you said earlier in this live stream, that there are endless options for working with query params. And that's true. The idea of query parameters, there is so much you can do with them. I like to think that the options are endless. With this solution alone, with code only, with no code, sorry, with this solution without any code, it's limited to a few use cases. We showed 2 of them. To do more than this, than these simple solutions, you're going to have to add code on top of the project. So let's bring up a question from Penny and John Saxton. They asked the same question at the same time. Can you carry a query param forward as a person moves through the website? And John Saxton asks, also curious if params are persistent. I'm thinking multi-step forms. If you hit a previous page, I wonder if the param stays with the user. So no, the param does not stay with the user. This is meant to be a very lightweight solution alone that has these really nice, quick, and easy use cases. In order for it to be persistent and to carry through the project, we would have to store that either in cookies or local storage, which we cannot do without a little bit of code. Now, we are working on this. We have attribute solutions completely planned out. They're specced out. They are going to be cookie managers / local storage managers, and they're going to integrate with query param. So if you're watching this in 3-4 months from now, I would like to think that we have released those solutions for you. But for now, we're doing the simple solution or some JavaScript on top. And Pablo Cortez, here's a good question. Where does the value go through? Is it submitted into a form, or how does it connect to other tracking tools? Well, I'll answer part of this by saying you are able to submit this information through a form. For example, if you click on the link that says, I came from Twitter, UTM platform equals Twitter, I, as the developer, can store that value Twitter inside a hidden field in the form. So when that person goes to the landing page, fills out the form, and submits it, we know that was a direct referral from Twitter, and we know that that goes directly into Twitter. Natively, this will not connect with any tracking tools. This is a lightweight solution. It is made for these really specific, simple use cases. Harshit, do you have anything
Yeah.
to add to that?
Yeah, I would just like to add this, that like as we already said, like there are definitely a lot of use cases for this. So if you have any particular use case that you want us to cover, or if you have any particular use case that is really helpful for everyone, you can just share that with us. Maybe we can add on top of it. Right now, this solution is right now baby born. You can take the values, put it inside HTML elements. So I can see a lot of potential in this particular solution that we can add on top of it. So definitely let us know, provide your feedback on this particular solution, different use cases. Maybe we can do a lot of cool things here.
Totally agreed. This is just the start of a bigger marketing stack without integrating with other platforms, without a lot of headache of trying to make things communicate with each other. So we're dedicated to this. We know that you need it because our clients ask for it, marketing teams ask for it, and we are providing it to you through attributes. So that's going to be the end of this walkthrough of Query Param. I hope it was valuable. I hope it has you thinking, and definitely try this out on your next project. It really only takes 5 minutes to set up, and you get to provide your client with a really cool feature. Harshit, any final words to the audience before we sign off here?
No, I just wanted to say thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for all the support, and keep watching Finsweet streams.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.